Hi, my name is Katie Kepler, and I'm here to tell you about an exciting new investment opportunity in my company, Pod. I created Pod because we're living in a world of the sharing economy. These days you can share your house, you can share your car, you can even easily share things that are smaller like your camera. But for whatever reason, we haven't perfected that smaller sharing market that people are really looking for. And it's not because of lack of consumer interest or trust, but rather a problem of convenience. I decided that I wanted to solve that problem and close that niche in the sharing economy. And I did this by creating a little bit of a different model. It doesn't take very much work to rent out your house for a week or rent out your car to somebody, because those are big things that you can make a big profit off of. So far, people haven't been interested in putting the same amount of work into smaller rentals that equal smaller profit. Pod solves that problem because we're not just an app-based sharing platform like others are. We are both a hybrid between a storage unit and the gear sharing platform itself. That means we actually own the storage units where people keep their gear and rent it out. These units will be monitored 24 hours a day so people will know that their things are secure. And best of all, rentals can be brokered by our Pod workers. These workers will be the ones going in and out of your unit, safely taking out your gear, checking it, making sure that the rental is approved, and then giving it out to your rentees without you even having to be in town or in the country. Like I said, this is a pretty easy process. It works a lot like a traditional storage unit, so it's not too hard for renters to understand first off. You rent the unit for a monthly price, store your gear, and if you want to, that can be the end of it. But Pod adds a little bit extra because we're more of a storage unit with benefits. You're not only storing your gear, but now you can list the items that you have inside of your Pod and see if other people coming through town might want to borrow them for a day or a week. Once you have those listed, people can go through easily on our app or our website and say, hey, I'm going to Colorado and I need a tent this week. They can see yours, get reviews on it, and see what other users have said about it. And if they like it, they can request to rent it, similar to how Airbnb works today. You then, as the storer, can approve those rentals, and then a Pod employee will check your gear in and out of your unit, making sure once it goes out and when it comes back in that it is approved, in good condition, and that you, the rentee, and the Pod worker agree on the condition of the gear to make sure that it's not being abused. That means people then can make a profit without having to be there to broker that rental, making it easy to both store their things and make a little bit of money on the side. The advantage of Pod over other gear sharing apps is our security and our reliability. Because we're a physical location where people are keeping their things, they know that their stuff is being monitored. You're not letting a stranger into your garage, you're not trying to drive to a local parking lot to make sure you meet up with somebody in well-lit conditions. You're in a safe, secure location, and there are workers there 24 hours a day to broker your rentals. Also, because we're starting out in so many cities, people can experience a standardized Pod rental and rentee experience across the entire United States. And we'll get into that business plan in just a minute. Like I said, our market is going to be an explosive entrance. We want to make sure that people can use Pod anywhere and everywhere that they want to travel. To do this, we started out by picking 15 flagship cities that we're going to start, and we're going to have 3 sites per city. You might think that's a lot, but the storage market actually is growing, and it's not yet saturated in any of the locations we picked. We also picked our locations based on high rates of tourism, active rental market on other sharing sites, and then space for the storage development, as I already mentioned. You can see from this map where our target sites are going to be. You can see they're largely coastal because of higher tourism business in those areas, but we're hoping someday to expand so that we're in all 50 states and maybe even across the pond in Europe or farther. The market is ready for a gear sharing platform, and actually many have been attempted so far. But as I mentioned, they've all failed because it's just too hard to share these small things and make it worth the time and effort to do so. But the outdoor market is still clamoring for this. Especially in the outdoor market, which is going to be our first target, people want some reliable, affordable gear that they don't have to either A, buy themselves because that's expensive, or B, ship all over the country. If you have a tent in Boston, it doesn't help you much if it costs $100 to ship it to where you're camping in Colorado. So we're trying to connect those people who are traveling and need gear and who live in areas of high tourism that have gear that maybe goes rarely used, and help bring that outdoor market together so that more people can experience the outdoors. We put together a strong team to help get POD on the ground and running. Like I mentioned, my name is Katie Kepler. I'm the CEO and president of POD. Our CEO, Jack Smith, is a former Deloitte consultant, so he's really good at management, and he's actually worked with multiple small startups that are doing app-based business. Our CFO, Jane Doe, is our financial expert. She comes also with a lot of outdoor experience and enthusiasm for sharing platforms, and she actually did her final thesis in the sharing economy and its development over the last 10 years. Our marketing chief is Jenna Johnson of Instagram fame, if you know her, which is actually a huge platform these days for sharing various products and other ways to penetrate the market. We think that she is ideal for targeting our younger population who's probably going to be using these various services. And we need somebody who's very strong in marketing, especially to our target demographic, to make sure that POD really hits the ground running and gains a big market from the very beginning. And finally, our chief of HR is Toby Flenderson. Toby has had a long career in HR so far, and we picked him specifically because we need somebody who is good at finding highly motivated, happy, great people who are going to make POD not just a service, but a full experience. We want our workers to be excited about the outdoors, and we want them to know about their local area. Like you saw on our map a few slides ago, we're all over the country, so we can't standardize our experience to a certain extent because we want it to be local. Camping in Colorado is different than fishing in California, which is different than hiking in the Grand Canyon. So we want to make sure that our team is experts in the various outdoor activities around their local area, and that they're from there, that they can give advice, and that they're excited about the products that they're sharing with everyone. Finally, we put together a board of advisors made up of Roger Brown, who is our storage guru and has been in the storage market business for the last 50 years in his own family business. And then a number of various investors who also serve as our outdoor advisors for our various regions. We want to make sure, again, that the interest of each region in the country that we cover is represented appropriately, and that our team has the chance to really hear input from the different lifestyles and different interests in the outdoors. Financially, the startup costs are heavy. We want to develop all of these sites at once, and we want to bring them up in new functional storage units that are easy to use and attractive to new customers. So because of our widespread Big Bang startup, we have $18 million approximately in startup costs, most of which is geared towards the storage unit development. Some of that can be mitigated by either buying available storage units, existing storage units, and revamping them, or by picking locations that are lower development costs just outside of the city, but closer to the activities where people might want to use this gear that they're renting. We're also going to invest $1 million in initial app development because we want to make sure that this app is easy to use, user-friendly, has a great interface right from the get-go. We don't want any of our app-based problems to be the reason that POD struggles in its first few years. We also need $2 million for our year one cash needs, and a lot of that is because of advertising. This is kind of a new concept, but people are familiar with its two parts. We know a lot about storage, and we know a lot about the sharing economy. Bringing the two together is kind of novel, so we want to make sure that people understand the benefits to them, A, for sharing the outdoors with other enthusiasts, but also B, just to have the chance to make a little bit of side money on on gear that they might have invested in and now need to make some return on their investment with. We also need some cash on hand to pay our employees. Again, we want to take good care of the employees so that they're excited about our product, excited about our service, and really take good care of those first customers as we build our company up. There are some areas of risk inherent in any business. One of our biggest competitors is the standard garage. We have to convince people that using POD, which might be more expensive than a traditional storage unit and certainly is more expensive than using your existing storage space in your home, is worth it and provides enough benefits over just keeping things at home that you would choose our service over that. There's some apathy that we'll have to overcome. Again, people might just not do certain activities because they are expensive, so we need to really build up the trust in our system and show people why our service is really worth it. Also, we do understand that there is some seasonality in travels, both within a week, so most people rent things on Thursdays to Sundays, and within the year. Obviously, summertime is a high travel time, and then usually winter in a lot of the locations that we've selected as well. So we have to be prepared for some buffering of those low seasons. And I think that the structure that we have of the consistent storage unit business at its base and the ebbing and flowing rental business over the top of it really helps mitigate that risk for us as compared to other platforms that were just apps. And then finally, of course, there's a high initial cost. We need to do this right. We need to start out with a big bang so that our name is out there so people know that they can trust this service. But it is a big investment, and if we struggle, if there are problems in the first few years, it can be scary to start out this big. But like I said, if we want to do it, we need to do it right, and this is what it's going to take. So we're starting out with these 15 locations, but POD is going to get bigger as it grows. We plan to expand into new cities, hopefully having at least one POD location in every state, and ideally many, many more, especially in those states with lots of outdoor experiences to enjoy. Some of this expansion might be on just an app basis. Once our app is recognized and trusted, we might have POD employees going to existing storage units in markets where it's a little bit too small to justify building an entirely new storage unit, or where the storage market is very saturated. We also are starting out our focus on outdoor gear, so make sure that we do our business right to start out with. But in the future, POD can be used for anything. You can store anything you want in our units, and so you can also rent that out. Maybe you have a vacuum that somebody would need, or a drill, or any other small items that people coming through town or just staying for a little while don't necessarily want to go out and buy, but would rent for a low cost during the day. So we'll look into expansion into those markets once we are established. And we're also eventually down the road planning to do a delivery service and incorporate that into our rental market to help cater to those travelers who don't have transportation or don't have a way to carry around the gear to the places where they need to. Your investment today is a solid one. We have looked a lot into this business. We've made some big plans, and most of all, we're very excited about it, and so is the outdoor market. They're ready for this to happen, and so are we. We already have equity financing for 60% of our startup costs, the $18 million and then the $2 million together. So we are seeking the rest of our financing through debt from you to cover the remaining 40%. And that's because we don't want to dilute our equity too far. We think that we have a good solid base of investors, and we know that we can pay back the debt very quickly based on our projections of the storage unit business going forward. So we hope that you'll invest in us today. We hope you can see the excitement and the well thought out plans that we've made for our new business. Investing in POD is not just an investment in a business, but in the outdoors and in sustainability for the future generations. Thank you so much for listening today, and we hope that you will join us and share in the outdoors. Thank you.